Welcome again to the course of Entrepreneurial Finance. I'm your course instructor Shehzad Khan Durrani, lecturer, Institute of Business Studies, Quart University of Science and Technology, Hango campus. Today, our topic is valuing unquoted companies, or you can call it valuing unlisted companies, right? This is the part 1 of our lecture. It includes valuing unquoted companies or unlisted companies. We will try to understand this concept. Then we will talk about, or we will try to differentiate listed versus unlisted company evaluation, how the evaluation take place of the listed and the unlisted company. Then we will talk about the important factors for the pre-revenue startup evaluation, right? What are the important factors for the pre-revenue startup valuation, right? And it includes the traction method, the prototype, the present funding supply and demand, the distribution channels, and the revenues, right? So we will try to understand these, and at the end the reputation, right? So these are some of the important factors for the pre-revenue startup valuation. Unquoted or unlisted companies. So startup valuation is the process of calculating the value of a startup company, right? You are trying to calculate the worth. You are trying to calculate the value of the startup company, right? Then the startup valuation methods are typically applied to startup companies that are currently at a pre-revenue stage. At the first stage, or at this stage, it's called the pre-revenue stage. You are not generating any revenue, right? So it's a kind of risky stage because the investors are not going to trust on you, but you have to invest, attract the investors so that they can invest money in your company. So business owners will hope for high valuation, right? They are hoping for the high value of their company, whereas pre-revenue investors would prefer a lower value, right? Because they are not, the company is not generating any revenue, so the investor prefer to provide low value of their investment, or they are looking for a low level of investment that promises a bigger return on investment, right? And they are looking for a bigger return on their investment. So business valuation is never straightforward for any company, right? It's not a straightforward approach that you can just, for example, it's a very easy steps that you can evaluate your business. No, it's a pre-revenue stage, a very much risky stage, and because the people are not going to trust on your business, so they are not going to invest, and you have not something in your hands on the basis of which you can evaluate your business. So how you can value the unquoted companies at this stage? Valuing unquoted companies. If you are trying to raise capital for your startup company, right? Or you are thinking of putting money into any of the business like unquoted companies, it's important to determine the company's worth, right? It's important to determine the company's value, right? It's the first stage that you must determine the company's worth. You must determine the company's value. Startup companies often look to angel or investors, right? So the angel investor we have, and we have the venture capital, right? So the angel investors, they are going to invest their own fund, and the venture capital, they are investing others people money, right, to raise much needed capital to get their business off the ground, right? So the startup company is often looking to angels or investor, and it is a much needed capital at this stage of the business, in order to get their business off the ground, in order to get a boost to their business or grow their business, right? So startups are notoriously hard to value accurately. You cannot value accurately that my business worth this or my business will generate. You can just provide an estimation, though, since they do not yet have operating income, because you do not have any operating income, or perhaps even a sellable product yet, or you do not have a product, you didn't produce any product that has some market value, and will be spending money to get things going, right? So you do not have really a good position. It's a kind of risky position at this stage of the company, of the unquoted companies. The difference between listed versus unlisted company evaluation, right? So we will talk about it. The listed versus unlisted company evaluation. Unlike early stage startups, right? A mature publicly listed company, right, if the company is listed, right, will have a more hard facts and figures to go on. So they have something in their hands, right? They have some data in their hands, or maybe they have some like for example a proper record of their assets and liabilities, a proper records of their assets and debts, a proper records of their transactions that they are doing, or they had done it. So a steady stream of revenue, so they have a steady stream of revenue, and financial records make it easier to calculate the value of the business. So it's very easy to calculate the value of the business, right? To calculate its expenses, revenues, liabilities, total assets, capital, owner's equity, etc. So this is usually done with the EBITDA formula, right? For the listed companies, you are going to calculate its total worth, its total value of assets with EBITDA formula, and this means EBITDA calculates the value of the company based on its earning before interest. So E means earning, B means before, I means interest, right? And T means taxes, D means depreciation, and A means amortization. So earning before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. So EBITDA is equal to net profit, right? Your net profit plus interest that you are paying, plus taxes and the depreciation of your assets and amortization. So if you accumulate all of them, if you add all of them, it's equal to earning before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. So it's very easy for the listed company, right, to calculate the value of the business. Important factors for the pre-revenue startup valuation, right? Now we will talk about the unlisted companies, the unquoted companies, right? So the pre-revenue startup valuation, right? We will talk about some of the factors. So let's start. The first factor is the traction, right? What does it mean? Traction means the number of users, right? the your users portfolio, the number of users that you have. So it's actually your strength, right? The number of users. It's one of the thing that provides you a value to your business. So proving you already have customers is essential. The more the better. So if you have a really good customer portfolio, it means for example that your business has a value. The second thing is effectiveness of marketing, right? Effectiveness of marketing is also important. What does it mean? If you can show how you can attract high value customers, right? How you can attract customer for a relatively low acquisition cost. You can also attract the attention of the pre-revenue investors. So if you can attract, this is really much important, if you can attract high value customers, right, it means that you can attract pre-revenue investors, because the investors can see your future through through that customers that you are attracting them towards your business. The next one is the growth rates, right? So the next thing that provides a value to your business is your growth rate, right? So growth rate actually shows that your business has grown on a smaller budget is great, right? If you started from from a really small budget, as many investors will see the potential for growth when you have some financial backing, right? And you possess some financial backing, your business is growing rapidly and with a steady pace, right? So for example, you have really good revenues, you have really good products, people are liking your products, so it means that there are more opportunities to grow your business, and then the investors can trust you. So you do not have, like for example, a proper record of the revenues and the financing activities etc in your hand like the listed companies, but you have the number of users, you have the effectiveness of the marketing, and you have the growth rate as well. The next important factor is the prototype. What does it mean? So it means the existence of prototypes show that the company has already a certain level of execution. It means that the company has a certain level of execution, right? Execution means start, right? That the company already started, and achievement for the go to the market phase, right? And they are going to enter into the market phase because they have some achievements. So the business have the tenacity and vision to bring ideas into reality. So it means that the business are actually working on their visions. They have some ideas, unique ideas, and they are converting that ideas into the reality. So it is the stage where the investor are going to trust on your business, right? It also propels that the business that much closer to a launch date, right? So the business is going to start, the business is going to launch their products, right, into the competitive market. So a positive impression on investors of the prototype. Another important factor for the pre-revenue startup valuation is the present funding supply and demand. What does it mean? It means that if there are more business owners seeking money, right? So it means that if you are attracting more business owners into your business, then investors willing to invest. The investors that are actually willing to invest into your business, this could affect your business valuation, and actually it affects your business worth or valuation. So this also includes a business owner's desperation to secure an investment. Actually, he is looking to invest into your business, right? Eagerly, actually, he is looking. And an investor willingness to pay a premium. Even he is ready to pay a premium. But this is only possible if your business is innovative if your business is has some unique ideas, right, that can be converted into the reality, or for example the realization of the idea, if there is a possibility that that idea can be converted into a real business, right, and this business will be successful in the future, then so it means that emerging industries and hot trends. So you must hit, or you must look for the emerging industries or hot trends or high margins, for example, right? Your business, for example, they are earning like lots of revenue for the investors, right? The return on the investment is high, then you can attract lots of investors into your factor for pre-revenue startup valuation is distribution channels, right? Distribution channels actually is one of the most important and also one of the most underrated points in startup strategy, right? People are actually underrating it, but it's the most important one. If you have a good distribution channel, right, if you can connect, for example, the wholesaler, the retailer, and then the customers, right, and for example the time management, it's also one of the most important factor, like for example delivering your time your products on time, actually it affects your business, right? So distribution channel is also one of the most important factor. When the target company has distribution channels in place, right, and working reasonably, and they are working reasonably, the startup valuation will certainly be higher than one without them, right? So a company, an unquoted company having a good distribution channel is better than the company having no channel or without any channels, right? So for example, from the brain owner, the distributors we have, and then the retail stores, and then to the final consumer. This is the link used for this image. Another important factor for the pre-revenue startup valuation is the revenue. What does it mean? Revenue streams are very important for companies which main product has a business to business and business to consumer audience, right? So for example, you have transactions like from business to business and from business to consumer audience, and when the target company has the recurrent payments from clients, right? So repeatedly they are receiving the payments from the clients, business to business or business to consumers, the more robust the valuation will be. So if they are successful in order to get their payments repeatedly from the consumers or from other businesses, right? So it means that you are earning something, you have revenues, right? So we have like two kinds of business, business to business and business to consumer, like the revenue can come from both of them. Another important factor for the pre-revenue startup valuation is the reputation. What does it mean? It means a startup is more likely to obtain a higher valuation with some analysis, right? So a certain analysis can be made from the investors, from the customer sides, right? Even when there isn't any traction yet, even if you do not have a huge number of customers, you do not have a customer portfolio yet, there can be certain analysis can be made which can, for example, evaluate your business, right? So this factor is called the reputation, right? So it means that does the founder or his team have a track record of good ideas? Are they coming up with the good ideas, for example, and executing them and then giving a shape to that idea, starting them up to market adoption phase until that idea is adopted in the market, for example? So it depends. Your value, your business worth, your reputation depends on these points. So does the product already have a good reputation, for example, or the product, for example, surpass some, for example, unethical standards, for example. So if your product has a value in the market, has a reputation in the market, then you can, or your idea is good, unique in nature, then you can attract more and more investors and customers. So these are the important factors for the pre-revenue startup valuation, that you can evaluate your business through these points. These are the references that I used while making my. Thank you.